Okay, so with the top 10 best movies of the year out of the way, it's time to talk about the top 10 worst of 2024. Now, I said 2024 was an upgrade over 2023 as far as great movies go. However, when it comes to bad movies, 2024 is really high up there for the number of them. I feel like this past year you either watched something great or terrible in theaters. And well, there were plenty of bad ones. So let's waste no time and get right into it. These are my top 10 worst movies of 2024. Gladiator 2 takes home 10th place. While it's certainly not a bad movie on paper per se, it's one I found highly disappointing. Being my most anticipated film of the year, I had much higher expectations for this one. Outside a few bright spots, Gladiator 2 comes nowhere close to the 2001 Best Picture winner. Instead, what we get here is a variety of mid-action sequences, half-baked storylines, and a severe lack of emotional storytelling. This should have been great, but it wasn't by any means. I'm just so happy Ridley Scott thought CGI monkeys and sharks would be a good idea. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is number 9. Okay, I think most people would agree this franchise needs to die. I'm not sure if they plan on making another after this one, and I hope they don't, but if they somehow do, I couldn't even begin to tell you what direction they could go in. Because at this point, the Ghostbusters franchise has been milked for far too long. Frozen Empire is the perfect example of that. This entry didn't add a single new idea. It lacks the heart and soul of the original movie, pretty much like every Ghostbusters film that's come out since. And I'll just say, I couldn't wait for the movie to be over. It's good if you want to take a nap though. 8 is Kung Fu Panda 4. Speaking of franchise installments adding nothing new to their brand, yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 was clearly just a cash grab. They took the respected name of Kung Fu Panda and did the bare minimum. Not only does this animated film lack the emotional storytelling that made the previous entries so good, but it also makes our main hero, Po, look like a joke after all he's been through. Whatever character development Po had gained was broken down in the 4th installment for no reason whatsoever. The villain sucks as well, it's predictable as ever. I can just tell you now, I have zero excitement for 2 more Kung Fu Panda films. Roadhouse is supposedly a remake of the Patrick Swayze Roadhouse movie. I say supposedly because this didn't feel at all like a Roadhouse movie. Yeah, there's some bar fights and Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of cool here, but the whole storyline of bar bouncing and keeping the bar under control isn't really a thing in this one. Nah, it just decides to go bonkers mode. The plot is ridiculous, every villain is flat out stupid, Conor McGregor, as much as I enjoy him, is too much. Roadhouse 2024 is pure wasted potential. All they had to do was copy and paste the first movie, but nope, apparently that was too hard. Joker Folie à Deux is next on my list. Man, I've never wanted to sleep so badly in my life during a movie theater experience. I truly don't know what they were thinking with Joker 2. This didn't need to be a movie. It was fine leaving 2019's Joker as is. But because they made $1 billion off that one, they needed to make a sequel. So what direction did they take this? Oh yeah, through music. It would be one thing if the musical numbers made sense and worked well with the story, but pretty much all of them fell out of place. To top it off, I hated the ending. It made everything that happened in Joker 1 feel like it didn't matter. Alright, real quick before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on all notifications for upcoming videos. Now then, let's get back to it. Kraven the Hunter is the first of the Sony Spider-Verse movies from this year to appear on my list. So actually, I had high expectations for Kraven because of Aaron Taylor Johnson, Russell Crowe, and the R rating. Plus, the trailers looked pretty badass, but I should have been smarter than that. Kraven the Hunter is a snooze fest with poor writing and awful CGI. You'd maybe think they'd make up for any missteps by delivering great action, but nope, they fumble the ball in that department too. This should have been sick. Instead though, it was a huge waste of time. Venom: The Last Dance lands in the top 4. Hello Sony, sad to see you again, and unfortunately, this won't be the last entry to make it. I don't think anyone should be surprised about The Last Dance making my top 10 worst of the year. With the Sony Spider-Verse presumably over, Venom 3 decided to be a full-on me movie. There's nothing about it that's serious. Basically, all the issues I had with 1 and 2 return here. Then they pile on more terrible storylines to make matters even worse. We also see plenty of meandering in The Last Dance. In the middle of the flick, we get a random 20-minute Vegas sequence that easily could have been cut out. I didn't expect much else, but was this really the best I could come up with? Number 3 is Despicable Me 4. Yet again, another franchise that I thought was dead, outside of their Minion movies. Nonetheless, they needed to make more Despicable Me's, so here we have the 4th. I'm not a big fan of 2 or 3, but never thought this franchise could get any worse than those. No, I was wrong. Despicable Me 4 is a film where nothing happens whatsoever. It just makes you want to pull out your hair. The movie is more childish than ever imaginable. Gru and the kids are annoying at this point. The plot makes no sense. There really is nothing to like about Despicable Me 4. It's the lowest these animated films have stooped so far. The Crow gets second place. Again, another remake I was excited about. The 90s Crow with Brandon Lee is awesome, so I assume they replicate that for modern movie audiences. What we got instead, though, is one of the worst creations of cinema I've ever seen. Poor writing and execution from this remake is one thing, but whoever decided to pace the film like a snail made me want to walk out of the theater. And for a Crow movie, outside of one good action sequence, it's way too tame in the violence section. I give credit to Bill Skarsgård for trying, but he should have known better than to take part in this piece of garbage. Hey, at least he made up for it only a few months later with Robert Eggers. Number 1 is Madame Web. Is there really anything I can say? Madame Web is barely worthy of being called a movie. You can tell they use a ton of audio dubbing, and as far as post-production goes, I presume the editors just gave up. I would have too if tasked with this disaster. I can say a multitude of things about the acting, script, execution, etc., but that would be a waste of time, because you already know how bad this one is. So yes, Madame Web is the worst movie of 2024. In my opinion, it's the worst superhero movie of all time, and if you really think otherwise, I recommend rewatching it. You might change your mind fast. Okay, well that is my list for top 10 worst movies of 2024. For those who stuck around to watch till the end, be sure to comment your list down below. And of course, as always, thank you all so much again for watching all of my videos this past year. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and clicking that thumbs up. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you then.